and welcome back to another video. I thought in today's video we could get a little bit festive and create some Linocut stamps to create some nice little Christmas cards. I just thought this would be really nice and fun and a bit relaxing and kind of test my designing skills a little bit, and I thought I'd bring you along on this journey. I have some very nice little square blank cards, and I thought a nice square liner cut would look perfect. I did some mock-ups on my iPad, so I'll bring those over to you now. So I'm thinking like a deer, very heavy on the black. I thought the antlers could be nice and bold, and then some baubles hanging off the antlers, some this is not finished, some kind of fur texture carved in there, and then maybe some sort of stars in the background of this like circular shape. But I thought that would look really, really nice on the front of a card. Now my cards, I'm gonna have to go and get a card so that I can test the size, but this is the biggest I have in terms of liner cutting, so the square would have to be like this. So this liner is not going to be the biggest. I may have a look and see if I've got any bigger lino, or maybe I can stitch two linoleum pieces together, but that is the gist of what I'm thinking of today. So I did mock it up like I showed. We have my carving tools. I don't know how sharp these are because I did that carving into paint video, which I'll link at the top here, and I don't know if these need sharpening, so I'm hoping they're sharp enough. But I have a bunch of tools here in this little kit. My handle, I have a little block here just to help me carve, so if I'm pressing on, I'm not going to be jamming into my fingers trying to hold the linoleum. And then I have some lino ink and a roller, a brayer, and I'm going to use those to ink the piece up and then print it. So I thought, let's get some nice close-ups, very ASMR-y type shots of me carving, and hopefully just create a nice piece of art that can be stamped on some cards that I can send out to my friends and family this year. So let's get into that. have so far. I did realise partway through this that I actually cut on the wrong side, so can you see how this is a bit bobbled? I should have cut on this side, and I didn't realise I'd already sketched it out, I'd already started cutting and then realised I was on the wrong side, which is not ideal. But we're going to trim off this bottom end here and just do a test print and see how it's looking, see if we need to trim off any extra bits, or whether it works how it is. We may end up trimming off kind of this excess just so we don't have any ghosting when we print, but hopefully this works. It would be nice if it does. So I have this foil here. I do apologise, my roller is a little bit squeaky. We're going to put some print blocking ink on here, like this. Smush that out. Side, and then I'm going to get our card ready. Here, make sure there's nothing underneath. As you can see, we're getting a little bit on here, so they might need to be trimmed down a little bit. Also my fur cuts are quite fine, so I've just got to make sure I don't get this ink too deep into the fur cuts. Now, the areas I am worried about the most would be, see where I've cut into the antler here. I made a little mistake there, I accidentally slipped. Some of these antlers might need just making a little bit nicer, make a little bit more like an antler. Like this one's a little bit curvy, it might need just shaving off or trimming or something, but kind of getting that fine detail is what I'm worried about. There's a lot of fine detail on these baubles just to make them look like baubles, which might not show up, but we will have to see, and we'll have to see whether this print's okay on the wrong side. I do hope so. One thing to say, that I actually did just take out the circle that I had behind it, because I just thought it's actually big enough to fill up this square quite nicely, and the circle, I think it would be hard to try and line that up correctly, so I did cut that out and it wouldn't be very central to this square. So I just thought, let's go with just the antlers with the baubles on. So I think if we line this up like this, I'm actually going to use the back of this just to press that down. I have another roller, which I'll get for the next prints, but I really hope this works with this other side that I used. I really hope so. It might give it more texture, to be honest, because it is a bit textured. You know what, we're going to use the back of this instead. Really press that down. And then let's see what the result is. Hey, that's not so bad. Not so bad. It needs more ink. That texture might be an issue. But for the most part, I think those lines really line up. What I am going to do is I think I'm going to trim that off so that it's about the same distance from the bottom print there, so that when I line it up I can see what needs to be higher, what needs to be lower. But for the most part, most of that detail is showing up. Like I say, I don't know if that's just lack of ink or the texture that's done that, but a few of these cuts might need deepening. I do need to take this off, so I'm going to do that and then we'll do a few more test prints. So I trimmed off all that excess just to mitigate some of these extra lines that kept printing. Now, I did deepen a few lines. I'm not quite sure on the ears or the forehead whether those lines will get picked up since I'm not using the right side, but we are going to try printing one more time, well, as a test print, and then we'll produce some more batch prints. I'm going to load up my roller again, but I'm going to load it up a little bit heavier, just so that we can try and get a bit of a cleaner print. I also brought over another brayer that I can actually use to roll it out afterwards. Hopefully that will help with getting a nice clean print. So let's load this back up. I want to load it heavier to get a cleaner print, but I also don't want to fill in some of my details too much, so a bit of a fine line on that one. But that looks like a nice hefty amount of ink, if not a touch too much on that face section. We'll see how that turns out. Okay. I've also trimmed off enough to make it a bit easier to centralise the print as well, which is nice. I'm going to flatten that out, maybe that's a bit easier. Like this. Okay, and then we'll use this roller, hopefully get a nice even print. And it's a bit nicer to be able to see where I need to press down as well. Let's hope this works. Okay, let's lift this off. Wow, yes, a much cleaner print there. There's a few little details that may have filled with a bit too much ink, but I'm really happy with that. I think it's really nice. It reads okay, like it could be better, but I like it. I don't know, you could go a bit further and chop off these baubles and make them coloured or something like that, but it's nice. I like it. I think it's turned out quite well, and I'm quite pleased with the results. So hopefully that ends up at some people's doors for their Christmas cards this year, as my newest lino print. But yeah, so thank you very much for watching. I hope you've enjoyed this video and enjoyed the really soothing process of lino cutting as much as I have doing it and filming it for you. So I hope to see you in the next video. Bye bye.